Greetings, citizens! I am finally back, and I have a new and improved fleet to show you. No longer am I relegated to flying around the Nomad and nothing else. And I promised in my last video that I'd also have some actual gameplay footage to show you, and this time I do. Before I get into it, and I show you what new ships I have this time around, I'm actually going to talk a bit about my initial plans for the fleet and the possible choices I could have made. As you may already know, if you watch this channel, I'm a miner first and foremost, and I rely on mining for most of my bread and butter in this game. I love it, and it's where I gravitate towards. But I wanted to change things up. I wanted to give some of the other game loops a try. So, if you've been following along this since the beginning, you know that I started this patch with absolutely nothing. I ditched all my gear and ships in one location, which is at Area 18, and moved to a single location, Lorville, with one ship. I started with no UEC, very little fuel, hardly any quantanium fuel, and that was it. I worked my way up from absolutely nothing to getting an undersuit, gear, food, money, did a few deliveries and looting. Eventually I rented a cuddy and a rock, did some mining to make my first millions. Since then, the odd jobs, the Siege of Orson, a little jump town, and now I have over 5 million to spend on ships. So I have actually made quite a bit of progress. I do have other ships in my fleet. The ones that I hid at Area 18. I have a Mustang Gamma, which I purchased in-game at the beginning of the patch to try out the new cargo, not realizing I actually got the wrong Mustang. So it was the wrong version for that. I have a Drake Dragonfly and an Aurora MR. Those three ships I left at Area 18. My plan was to give away the value of those ships in-game and basically pay them off that way and get access to them. I also, at the beginning of the patch with the stipend, gave away 15 million UEC to a viewer named Riptide. Unfortunately, this, at the very beginning of the patch, was all removed as part of that stipend debacle. So my plan was in the future, when I do pay off for those ships, when I do need to buy them back, I would just send that money, the comparable amount, to Riptide, so that my first consideration here was, should I only get new ships, or should I spend some money and buy back some of the older ships I had stored? I really need to decide what ships I would get. One last thing I'll get into before the new fleet is that you may know that recently my dog tore her cruciate ligament, and so I have a little bit of an update on that, because that's the reason this video and the next videos for a while are going to be a little light on content, yet they're taking over a week to produce. Stella's surgery was a little over a week ago. It was on the 22nd, which was on Thursday. Friday she came home, and it's been a very long couple weeks. In that time, I could only play Star Citizen or use my computer, for that matter, for maybe 3 or 4 days a week for about maybe half hour, 45 minutes max. So it's going to be very slow going until things kind of improve, and I don't have to sit beside her and watch her the entire time I'm home. So my final recording session for this video was actually on the 30th, and then editing has been taking a while. Even this audio that's being recorded is being recorded over multiple sessions. So please bear with me. My next week I'm hoping to be a little bit easier and maybe get a little more done. No guarantee on that. There's a good chance I won't be covering Citizencon, but I will be watching that if possible. But hopefully I can get some content out about Citizencon when that comes up. If you don't know about Citizencon, check out what's coming up. If you are a backer, you're going to get some freebies in your account when Citizencon is taking place. A Stormwall plushie in-game, a jumpsuit, and a grenade launcher, I believe what it is. So that'll be kind of cool. As far as the surgery itself, I do think it's funny that while I was recording my last video, I got a call from the vet while I was recording the video, and I just kind of lost my mind thinking I got to quickly go check to see how my dog's doing. And instead of saying thanks for watching, I did say thanks for calling, and one of you did pick that up right away and thought it was funny, and I thought it was hilarious too. So yeah, that was pretty funny. Hopefully I'm not so distracted today, but there's no guarantee. So the actual surgery itself was pretty awesome. She got something called TTA, tibial tuber something. I can't recall. I'm not a doctor. But they didn't actually fix the ligament, which is what I thought they were going to have to do. But the leg bone is like cut lengthwise and then spread open with a spacer that's put in and a bone graft. It changes how the knee operates. It's pretty cool. I actually thought it was really awesome. She's already walking kind of slowly around, which also surprised me since, you know, this leg has over 20 staples in it, all up the side. Overall, good news, but I'm looking at 8 to 12 weeks of recovery time for the dog. But the rough stuff should be done pretty soon. Once she can kind of jump up and down on a sofa without me worrying about hurting herself or not having to worry about her looking at the wound, this is going to be a lot better. So hopefully, more or less, this is behind me, at least for now. At least now I'm also sleeping in a real bed again. She was so sore, she did not want to be left alone, and so she whined and cried. I could not sleep. I had to set up a nice cushiony bed for her in the kitchen with a baby gate and walling it off so she couldn't see any of the deer, raccoon out the windows to set her off. But as soon as we tried to go to bed, she was so sad, just whining and crying. So I spent the first few nights keeping her company. So imagine me in the kitchen, Stella beside me. I'm on the floor. She's on the comfy bed with a cone on her head, like a neck one. Not, anyways, like a neck cone. And me passed out on the floor beside her as she randomly tried to snuggle, hitting me in the face with her cone. So I haven't slept well. By Monday, I had to go to work, and she had learned to be good on her own. So it has improved. It's a lot better now. I was happy she was in less pain and able to get a good sleep because I needed to function. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my mind and lose out on some kid at work. My trick the first night was to put in earbuds and a podcast and drown out all the cries. She's now happily sleeping through the night without either of us there for her. Still needs help out for walks. I have to kind of basically use this cool harness that allows me to support her on the stairs with handles, like a little doggy suitcase. Pretty awesome as well. That's about it for dog update. So yeah, she's doing okay. The more she's recovered, but it's still a bit limited. So, and what content I can produce because I'm still so busy with this dog. Overall, once she's walking well enough again and doesn't need the cone for sleeping, I'll be a happy citizen. Fingers crossed she never does this to her other leg because it's very tiring. Also, very expensive. Like how expensive, you might ask? Let's just say I am now well beyond concierge status at the vet. Many times over. So on that note, some self-promoting, some begging, maybe. Feel free to subscribe to this channel and help me get some monetization. I am so close. And once I can make some money, I can start holding more giveaways and giving back to this community. That is my goal and has always been my goal. At the time of this recording, I'm at a little over 955, so only about 40 something away from my 1,000 goal. So I am getting there. So if anyone has not subscribed, this would be the time because once monetization starts taking place, once I start earning, that earning is going to go back into giveaways to the community, whether it's going to be ships or equipment in the game, something to say thank you for all the support. Because that is why I do this, is just because the love of the game. I actually do enjoy making the videos, but I'd love to be able to kind of justify the hundreds of hours with at least something that I could be working towards. Speaking of videos, let's get back to it. I did promise more gameplay, so I'll talk about how I went about getting my new fleet. I mentioned that I had a few ships in game already and needed to get out of self-imposed Hawk. I needed to get some prices on those while looking for what other options I had for ships. So my first step with my newfound wealth was to head to my favorite city of Lorville and check out New Deal. I needed to decide what ships I should get and what kind of game loops I'd be trying out. My usual routine of getting a prospector was out, at least for now. I wanted to try something new and will hold off returning to mining, at least for the time being. I considered freight, combat, bounties, even a little bit of refueling, and made myself a list. At New Deal, there was no Mustang Alpha, hence my mistake originally at the start of this patch, getting the wrong Mustang, because there's only the Gamma or the Beta here. So the Gamma is available here at New Deal. Also, they had both the Dragonfly and the Aurora MR, so I have those prices now just in case I wish to buy those ships back. And I started looking over the other ships here. I had some pretty solid choices, but I wanted to get a price for the cargo version of the Mustang. So I took off again and headed to ArcCorp in Area 18. Now, outside of Astro Armada, I actually stopped to watch the train. Since the last patch, possibly a bit longer, it's been pausing overhead of this pathway every time I'm riding it. And I want to see if it did it on the ground end as well. And it does. So I'm unsure why, and if it also happens to others. But the game itself doesn't freeze. You can still walk around the tram. It just stops in midair for a moment before continuing on. So I'm not sure why. I don't know if that's something that you experience. So if that is, let me know. They do sell the Alpha here, and it was such a cheap price, I picked myself up that ship. So I look forwards to a video in the future about this starter ship, and what do I think of it now that it can do cargo box deliveries by using the cargo to place boxes in. So it now has a bit of an interior, which is kind of cool. Also at this location are the other Hercules models, the C and the M2 and the A2. So I looked at those because I really want to try cargo this time around, and the C2 is a pretty solid choice, but would take up most of the money that I currently have. Also, there are cool couple of alien ships here I consider trying. So now I really had to do some planning on paper to see what I would end up getting. In the end, this is what I settled on with my money. First, I headed back to Lorville. All the ships I bought were at New Deal, not at Astro Armada. Also, this Yahoo was on the train with me. Not sure what his deal was.
Welcome to New Deal Shipyard, the finest purveyor of pre-owned vessels in all of Lorville.
In Lorville, I decided to buy back all the ships that I had stored at Area 18. The Gamma, the MR, and the Dragonfly came to a total of 1,085,100, which I sent to Riptide. So Riptide, if you've been playing and you've noticed a big influx of money, that's where it came from. This was on like the 29th or 30th. I took a bit of fiddling to figure out how much to send because I wanted the cost to me to be the amount that I needed to spend. So in the end, I sent 1,079,701 UEC to Riptide, and the rest of that price to make up the other 5,000 or so was the money that went to the game as a tax for transferring the goods. Back at New Deal, I made a wise purchase to ensure I can always earn in the future and picked up a Rock DS. Just kidding. Standard Rock. Why would I get the DS? This bad boy was well worth the cheap price it cost. If you can afford a Rock and you do any type of mining, it's a great deal. I did consider a PTV for the upcoming race series when the next patch comes out, if there's no wipe. That was also at Astro, but I recently found out that the race buggies are going to be free and used at the race, and ownership is not going to be required, so I did not get a PTV. I looked at getting a Connie Taurus, but at 3.25 million, it would leave me with only about 600,000. So currently not worth it for me, although it would have been a cool one to try for doing some cargo running. I wanted a bunch of fun ships as options now that I'm buying some ships. Instead, to try cargo, I got myself the Freelancer Max, a ship I've owned in the past in-game and liked, but never really used a ton. I don't see a ton of them in the verse, but it left me in a better position with 1.7 million remaining after buying that. And it is kind of a cool ship. As far as the Freelancers go, I think it's my favorite Freelancer. Next, I considered the Buccaneer for another 1.4 million, another ship I hardly ever see in the verse, but I had a lot of fun with when I tried out during the Fleet Week. But I passed for a very solid and reliable early tier ship, the Cuddy Black, for a slightly cheaper 1.38 million, and that was it. That's all my new ships that I have now purchased. I can also use the Cuddy and the Freelancer to carry the Rock if I want to. I can do some cargo. I can do a little bit of light combat. Overall, it's going to be kind of cool. I left this kiosk, and I saw another player run up and get themselves a new prospector. What a lucky duck. So that is it. Pretty much everything as far as getting... Ooh, that was interesting. Naked man running by and disappearing. Pretty much the end of my new fleet currently. Now I'm back to having a small amount of money, having to build that up. So I'm going to talk about a few more things. I really wanted to get this video out a lot sooner than it took. It is taking quite a while. In fact, I'm recording this last audio the day, hopefully, of release, which is on Friday. So hopefully you're seeing this, although it is going to be quite late, near the midnight. But I wanted to get this out before Citizencon. Citizencon is coming up. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a preview of an upcoming video of me actually checking out the Mustang Alpha and the cargo features. You can see here I'm just dropping down the cargo pod and taking a look at how it works, how it opens. This is my first look, the video of my first look of the cargo pod and how it works. So I've noticed it opens there, notices it opens on the other side. I'm not going to talk any more about what I'm seeing here. I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to let it run while I talk about two upcoming things. But to see my actual thoughts on the Mustang and how I think about it as a starter compared to the Aurora, which has always been my favorite. Look for that video coming up. But two things I'm going to talk about. First is Vara, which is the Star Citizen Halloween type celebration. Two cool contests coming up there. The yearly pumpkin carving contest, which you can enter to win some ships from Star Citizen. Those ships that you win during these contests are going to be the green paint varieties. Also, the green paints are available. Also, like the Vulture seems to be available currently from Drake. So something cool there with the pumpkin carving contest. If you carve a Star Citizen themed pumpkin, enter it in there. Why not? The other thing is there is another contest, a new one that I haven't seen before, which is a video contest, like a machinima style contest. We can make a video and put it out and maybe enter contests there. So those are kind of cool ones. What I really want to talk about is Citizencon. Citizencon is, at the time of my recording, less than 20 hours away. It is coming up soon. And I have to tell you, I am a little bit underwhelmed, if I'm being honest, about what's going on with Citizencon, even compared to the last two, which have been online. I'm looking at what's here and what's being involved and what's going on, and I'm actually feeling a little bit let down with what I'm seeing here. But hopefully, there's going to be some cool stuff. Hopefully, they're putting all their effort, I should say, into the upcoming, the next patch. The patch that will have stuff like cargo refractor and hangars in it and salvage. That is kind of exciting. I do believe there's going to be another wipe whenever that one comes out, so hopefully at least get a few things done with these ships before that next wipe, and then just kind of plan on what I'm going to be doing with the next patch. But I'm going to really quickly look about Citizencon and what I think about the upcoming stuff. So this is coming at UTC 3 p.m. on October the 8th, which will for me be closer to 11 because I am in Central? I've already forgotten my time zone. Anyways, tomorrow starting, it's going to be mainly videos on Twitch. My thought is it's going to be a few potentially live segments interspersed with presentations that are pre-recorded. That's what it was like last year. Some new ship is going to be revealed or possibly released. Last year there was the reveal of some of the images of Pyro, and then the reveal and release of the Origin 400i. So that was kind of cool that that happened. But we're going to look at the first things. Journey to 4.0 Planetary Pyro. So they're going to go through an in-game, in-engine tour of the planets and moons in upcoming Pyro, exploring their development status, and that's going to be cool. I am actually looking forward to see this, and I'm sure because it's going to be on Twitch, if you missed this, you're going to be able to go to the Star Citizen Twitch and check out all these videos later, really go over them, and that's what I will be doing, is really kind of taking a cool look at this. But it's going to be interesting to see what's coming up with 4.0 and Pyro when that comes out. There's also going to be a Journey to 4.0 Design Brief Investigations, which is a new mission archetype that leaves combat and delivery behind, it says, for deduction and increased storytelling. That's going to be kind of cool. What I would really like to see is more missions that involved longer times, maybe multiple parts. Almost like when you're doing bounties, you get different levels, and those bounties kind of go higher and higher and higher. Being able to potentially do a mission where you get one section of it done, and then a few days later you can go on to the next section. That'd be kind of cool. They're going to be Journey to 4.0, which you can see is the theme. The new Underground, which is going to talk about things like new underground facilities, possibly new caves, but new kind of bunkers, I'm assuming is what that's dealing with. Talking about combat speeds is the next one. Not really super into that, but I'm going to watch it for sure anyways. Talk about a redesign of Lorville. This I am excited about. Every time they add to Lorville, I'm really happy with that. And then resource management will be kind of cool. And then ship talks. And that is it for the upcoming Citizencon. Something I'm really kind of sad about is there has been no contest centered around Citizencon announced as of yet. There will be some contests and things here, but every year there's been a costume contest, and I will say it's worked out well for me. 2 years running, I've won something from the costume contest. A rock, which I love, and a rock DS, which is cool to have since it's not something I would ever buy. So just as kind of honorable mentions, I've got something from there. So that is kind of what I was hoping for. But I'm going to leave that here. Hopefully you guys got something out of this video. I'm not quite sure how it turned out since I have been working on it for 10 and 15-minute bursts over the last week. But at least I'm getting something out. Hopefully soon we're going to have a little bit better a little bit better content, but an upcoming contest. As I said, I am going to have another giveaway. I have a plan for one coming up that I will be posting about soon. But I'm going to leave this here because I am not going to show you too much of my Mustang Alpha video until I get that ready and get that out for you guys. So until next time, thank you for sticking with me through this. Hopefully you have subscribed, and hopefully I will see you soon in the verse. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye, everyone, and have a good Citizencon.